back to another vlog. I'm actually working on 2 vlogs today, but this video I figured I would share with y'all. I don't know if I'm going to save it and do like more than one recipe because I shared Thanksgiving recipes last year, or how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to show y'all just, I guess, clips of me prepping for Thanksgiving. I don't know if I'll make like one long vlog, or I might just upload just this little bit right here. But I'm going to be making the Thanksgiving cornbread dressing today, and I guess today or tomorrow. But we do ours a little bit differently. It's pre-made but homemade at the same time. We use Jiffy mix, and I shared it last year, but I can't remember if I shared in depth how I done it. So I'm going to try to not drag it out, but just share how we do ours. Every place that I've brought it to, we've brought it to family get-togethers, church functions, all of that through the years, and everyone always loved it and asked for the recipe. It's super basic. I don't know if my mom came up with it or if she told me that she got it from someone maybe years ago, but she's been making it now for over 30 years. I'm 27, and I can remember it from when I was really little, and I've been making it myself since I was about, I think 11 or 12 was the first year that I asked to do it. So I'm going to show y'all how we do ours. And then I also, it's not Thanksgiving, this is the beginning part of November, but I have realized that if I go ahead and prep it and put it in a pan and freeze it, I think the taste and texture comes out better because the flavors get to kind of like soak into it, and then it bakes better. That was a mouthful. So the night before Thanksgiving, I will pull it out and put it in the fridge to let it thaw in there, and then the next morning I will cook it. And I also do the same thing with my sweet potato casserole, and I think both of those recipes I shared last year in different videos. So it's actually 1 or 2 days, I think 2 days since I started the vlog for this because I got delayed, but I do have some of my voice back, so that's good. But I'm getting, well, I've already gotten started on the dressing. I'm doing 8 boxes of the Jiffy mix. I think I said earlier that we have tried other cornbreads, and the Jiffy one is the best one for this recipe. Anyways, we've tried doing homemade. I keep having to pause every time I do something, and the homemade is not as good as a Jiffy. Jiffy just works great. So I've got 8 boxes here. I'm doing 2 large pans. One, my parents requested that I make an additional pan for them to stick in their freezer, and then one for Thanksgiving that will end up being about, I don't know, several servings for many, many people. And I never measure. I just know about how much. Also, last year, one of my friends here, Miss Lori, sent me some candles in a Christmas package. And I never burned them because it was like past fall season. So I put it up with my candles and said I was going to wait until it was that time again. But I'm about to find something to melt this in today so that I have that scent going. So that's pretty neat. Anyways. And then I also have, this is that loaf of white bread I just got on the Thanksgiving stock up grocery order. This is basically like one good loaf of bread because it's a mixture. I did some of the white and then some of the wheat and toasted it and then let it just kind of get stale overnight and just sitting out so that it's really like, you can hear how crunchy it is. So again, no measurement, just eyeballing it. This is my huge mixing bowl here. Trying not to cast my reflection because I am not together by any means right now. But I'm going to mix all of this in there. That's the eggs that go in there. And I also have my milk already portioned out. Going to mix it together and then bake it according to the package. And then while that's baking, I'm going to chop these 3 onions up right here and the celery and get that sauteed in the pan with 1 whole stick of butter. Sometimes 1 1/2 depending. So I use this little parfait dish and put a piece way down in it of some oven safe butcher paper, and I'm just going to watch it and make sure it doesn't burn too low. And since it's a big enough dish, it won't get too hot. It smells really good though, and this is a cute idea I've seen people use in their little antique dishes for this. Mix it. Gentle. Wait a minute. Gentle. I happen to notice that some of these have that original paper type packaging, and then some have the clear plastic, which is weird because there's only 4 months difference in date between these two. So I guess now maybe they're changed to only using the plastic packaging, because this one expires April of next year and this is August of next year. So my stove looks like this because I had dropped, like I picked the salt shaker up and I just clear dropped it. But while I'm chopping the onion up, I have 1.5 sticks of butter melting, and I need to turn this down because it got hotter a lot sooner. But I'm going to melt that. That's 1.5 sticks in there. The cornbread is basically done. So it's a little bit more brown than if I were just making it to go with food, but I always want to make sure it's set really well, and the brown does add some flavor. And I also have, I'm going to use this whole bag, but this is not a lot, like this is a small bunch of the celery, and then I have some of this in a bag that I'll cut the little bit off that's not good, and I'm going to use every bit of this. So ideally I think 2 containers or bags of the celery would be good. So this is the little one chopped, and you can see it's not much at all. This one's about the size of my hand, so I'm using 3 total, but I'm gonna say you need 2 good, like larger than this hand size, large yellow or whatever onion that you have. I think these are yellow, but you could also use like sweet, so I'm gonna finish chopping those up. And now I'm chopping up the celery. One tip I do have is in our dressing my mom taught me how to do this, but I also have done a few things, changed some things to a different way. You can't really mess it up, but I found the best way to do this is to do teeny tiny, almost minced pieces, because these are going to cook down and essentially just turn to flavor. And then to leave some pieces, this was a smaller stalk, but with the actual like shape of the celery for the texture, and it looks nicer, and then you have like the bite of taste when you bite into it. Michael's also picky with his vegetables and doesn't like big chunks of stuff, and in this I don't blame him, but I do a variety of the sizes, and I also use the leaves. It makes it look a little better as it cooks, and there's flavor in that as well, but you can obviously dice this thicker if you wanted to. One thing I like to do is add a little bit of pepper onto my celery and onions while they're cooking, because it kind of toasts the pepper a little bit and you get a better flavor. So you're just going to cook this down until, like you can see, the onions are already starting to change, but until it's translucent, not exactly caramelized, but cooked down a good bit. So it's cooked down a good bit, and this is the point where normally I would add minced garlic into here. But it's a real tragedy because somehow I've managed to use all of my garlic, again with the bad angles, but I will go get dressed eventually. But somehow I've ran out of minced garlic completely. So I have to, Michael has my car right now because he's been working on his truck. So when he gets home with my car, I'm going to have to go in the store and get some garlic. And I was already going to go in the store and get some cheese. So now I have double reason that I have to go somewhere. So I'm going to put the fresh garlic in it. I'll probably forget to say that because it's later in the game that I'll be doing it. So it's not a big deal. The garlic doesn't have to saute. I just think it's better. Real life appreciation here. I've been in the kitchen all morning and there's just stuff everywhere. I have my wide angle lens on trying to show everything. random toaster on the floor because I had to get stuff out of this cabinet. In the back of the cabinet there was food to get out. The toaster was in the front, and now I need to vacuum the cabinet because there's crumbs. So it's sitting there waiting for Willow to get up from her nap, and then I'll vacuum. And then I've got some chicken and gravy going in the crock pot for dinner tonight. Random butter we got out the freezer because I needed some. Blueberries that didn't get put back up. I had some mixed greens in the freezer that I thawed. I let it just sit on the oven here to thaw out, and I will heat those up as soon as I'm done with this burner with that. Didn't even bother to clean up the salt because I'm still cooking. I've got black-eyed peas that are cooking. I still have to add more seasoning and stuff to them, but this is for dinner tonight. We're going to have Michael won't eat that, but I'll eat the greens and then the black-eyed peas. And I'll also save a few pieces of the cornbread for that as well. And I need to clean up the counter, dishes, life. I'm also itching to change my coffee bar area because I'm really excited for Christmas stuff, but I really love the way it looks this year. I thought I would add this in here since this is Thanksgiving. It's kind of festive like, but I've really enjoyed it throughout the past 2 months. I still think it came out really cute, but I am looking forward to Christmas stuff. I went into TJ Maxx the other day and they had the peppermint. This brand of syrup's really good. If you get it on Amazon, it's like $20. I always say that. I think it's anywhere from $13 to $20, but TJ Maxx has it for $7.99. It's a big glass heavy bottle. But this will be perfect when I start doing like iced peppermint mochas, and also you could use it in tea. And I still have not used, I didn't really like the pumpkin spice, honestly, but I've been using it some. And then the maple, I didn't use quite as much. I'm still using these, but I felt like I didn't want to take these out of the decorative looking bottles and put them in here because I already had syrup in there, and I just really like the way that this one looks. Yeah, so that was really random. Another random thing here, I've had my sourdough starter. That vlog might be up at this point, but I've had it over here on the counter by the oven, 78 degrees, which is great. And it's looking all bubbly and good, so it's really appreciating the heat from baking. I do need to feed it in just a little while. It didn't double this time, but it's not a big deal when I bake with it. It's very active, so I'm not super worried about that. I ran out of counter space and had to set my big mixing bowl on the table where I mix the cornbread up. Y'all, this thing is huge. So after the cornbread cools, I will crumble it and put it in here. Then I'll add that celery onion mixture, and then I'll show y'all everything else that we add. And of course, I've got to wash it first. But if I don't charge my phone first, I won't be showing anybody anything. To take the toast, and it works better if it's toasted and stale because it keeps texture, and tear those up into non-symmetrical pieces and mix it in. And then after I do that, I'll add another can of evaporated milk, and then ground sage. I'm not going to use the one that I have on my seasoning shelf. I'm going to use this one since it's fresh. And I think I normally end up using about half of this. And because the cornbread is cooked and we have not added in the raw egg yet, After you get all that mixed together, you're going to taste it and see if it needs any more seasoning before you actually add the raw egg into it. So this is about how I do my pieces. You want some pieces still big where it holds its shape, and then others I leave small, and then I also kind of like breadcrumb some of them. And then before I mix those in, I cover it in another can of evaporated milk. So at this point I'm up to 3 cans of evaporated milk and 2 cans of chicken broth. And then as it cooks, I'll also have another can of chicken broth that I pour over it to keep it from drying out. And then after I get this mixed, I'm going to taste. I know it looks gross, but it's not. And then I'll taste before I add my raw egg mixture and see if it needs more seasoning. Okay, I ended up adding a little bit more of everything, tasted it. Now I've got my rest of my seasoning on top, and I'm about to crack my eggs and mix in. I normally add 4 to 6. This time, because of the consistency, I'm only adding 4. I know this looks disgusting right now, but... And then once I get it in the pans, I top it with parsley and then freeze it until I'm ready to cook. I'm doing my broccoli cheese casserole, and I have about 1, if you use the frozen, which is what I normally use, I just happen to have leftover fresh. I have about 1 bag of that. It doesn't have to be exact. I cooked it, like I steamed it till it's quite soft, and then I'm going to chop this up fine. And I also have about, I'd say 1 medium-sized yellow onion browning and some leftover sausage grease over here. But I'm making the broccoli rice cheese casserole, and I do it a little different every year because it's just based on what ingredients I have. I also add some black pepper, a dash of curry, some garlic, which I just had to get on my grocery order, and the cheese. I have a pack of this Velveeta sauce open, so I'm going to use what's left in that, and then use a little bit of sharp cheddar as well. Chop everything up, put it in a pan that's has a little butter on it, and then I'll freeze it and have another thing prepped. Got some white rice going on to boil. I don't know how much I just pour. Probably like 1.5 cups dry, 2 cups dry maybe. And then I chopped all the broccoli up. This is a decent amount because I'm making 2 pans, one for Thanksgiving and then one for my mom to put in her freezer because she wanted like one of everything that I made where she could put up. Clearly I've got a ton of stuff going on. Here's my onion. I didn't end up using the whole. I probably got about half of a yellow onion in there that has been cooked in some grease. I didn't want it to be overpowering with flavor because I'm going to add other stuff. And then I'm going to put 1 can of cream of chicken mixed into it. Cook my rice. I cover with just enough water that it's submerged, and I let it cook until there's little pits in it, and then it's always done. And you can fluff with a fork, but it doesn't really matter if you fluff it right now. This is optional, but when my mom made like broccoli cheese casserole growing up, she always added curry, so I like to add anyways, I like to add it to mine, but just a little bit. It doesn't have to be a lot. And some salt, so I'm going to do just a dash of garlic salt. And then I added my broccoli in, and now I'm going to gently fold it together. And that's what it looks like stirred up. I think I did forget. I think it's sour cream. I need to look and see what I need to add to it. Okay, I don't think I've always added this, but it needs like a little something. I think what it is a lot of times I'll use cheddar broccoli rice-a-roni, but I just wanted kind of a plainer one, and I didn't want it to be over salty, so I'm just going to use a few tablespoons and mix that in. So I buttered my 2 pans. This is for flavor as well as to keep it from sticking, and I think this is going to go perfect between the two. This is 2 8x8 pans, so the amount that I made is good for 1 big dish for Thanksgiving for I guess probably like a family of 10 to 12, but a lot of my family doesn't. Mainly Michael is one of the ones that doesn't eat this, I don't think. Sometimes I'll eat a little bit. So 1 is for Thanksgiving, 1's for my mom, and then on Thanksgiving Day, I'll melt some butter in a bowl and then crumble up Ritz crackers, put it on top, and then bake it that way. I have 1 pound of extra sharp cheddar, and extra sharp really makes a difference, that I'm going to cut into cubes. A lot of people shred it and mix it into the casserole. I actually feel like the cubes taste better because it's like little melted pockets of cheese. So basically you need 8 ounces of cheese per pan, or again, if this is one big pan, just 1 pound, but you can't go wrong with it. And now I'm going to put the lids on, put them in the freezer, and then I'll pull them out the night before Thanksgiving and thaw in the fridge before cooking. So far I've prepped my dressing. Now I've got the broccoli cheese rice casserole, and then I need to prep my sweet potato casserole and have it ready except for the topping and have it in the freezer. And then I'm also probably going to attempt some homemade rolls, I think, if I have time at some point, and I can just freeze those and have those ready. So this is the sweet potato casserole. I made a 9x13 for Michael don't eat it, for my family Thanksgiving on Thanksgiving Day. And then my mother-in-law wanted the 8x8 for when we go to their house. And then I have another 9x13 that I'm putting in the freezer. Normally we end up cooking it for like New Year's meal. And my family will probably end up eating some of that too. So the big one's good for that again. And I think I shared this recipe last year. If I did, I will link it in the description, but I'm not sure. No, get out of that chair before you fall. Willow, quit. Okay, so I think I mentioned we couldn't get one big turkey, and we were wanting like 20 and above, and they only had like 14 and under. So we have a 13.5 and I think a 13.2. And they both perfectly fit in the cooker. I didn't show doing my brine. I was really busy, y'all. We've had so much go on. The refrigerator went out for a little bit. The freezer the next day went out, and I've just been so busy. But I think last year I shared basically how I shared how I do my brine. That's what I've done again this year. I'm going to pour it over it, and I'm using my actual turkey cooker roasting pan to brine it in the fridge. And this is so handy because you don't need like a brine bucket or anything. And what I do is I just fill it as close as I can to the top, and then like every 2 to 4 hours I will rotate it back and forth to be sure that it brines equally on each side, and it always comes out perfect. So if you're not wanting to spend like 40 to 60 bucks on a brine bucket and all of that, you literally can just use your roasting pan and clear out the bottom shelf of your fridge and just keep it rotated.
Shop the area Black Friday sale now. Get the new Google Pixel 8 for as low as $0 at googlestore.com.
Happy Thanksgiving. Obviously, it won't be Thanksgiving when y'all see this, but I realized I haven't talked as much in this vlog. And I was thinking I was going to have a Thanksgiving prep video and then a Thanksgiving Day video, but I decided to just combine both of them because I didn't end up prepping as much and filming it at the same time. But I did almost, probably 90% of my food ahead of time. There's like 2 or 3 little things that I have to assemble today. Right now I'm looking for a container for the cranberry sauce, and I was just telling Michael they need to make like a decorative glass cranberry sauce dish that's kind of rounded like the can where you can put the jellied in it and slice it, and maybe they do have one, but I have never seen one. But I gotta get that in the fridge, and then the turkey's in the cooker. Everything else is thawed and ready to go. The only thing I have to do is put the Cool Whip on the chocolate pie that I made at 3 a.m. And then I think that's pretty much it, other than just obviously baking each thing. But I'm going to include some more clips from the rest of the day. We got the tree up and just have to decorate and everything. vlog out. So thank y'all so much for watching my video and supporting my channel. It really means a lot. Be sure you stay tuned because there's Christmas content coming. I'm not going to be able to make a vlog a day Vlogmas, but I'm going to do as much vlogging as I can this year for Vlogmas, so that is coming.